Hi there YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So, in front of me you can see, I don't know what that was, the Steamies Rule 7-pack of Thomas Minis, which includes the fabled Rebecca, who has not been available in anything else thus far this year. So she's not in any of the blind bags, and she is not in any of the other packs except for the Advent Calendar, I think, which is way too many figures to buy that I don't want. Now, this is this pack, that's what this review's about, let's take a look. But first, as you will have seen if you look at the community tab, I did find King James after I posted that initial video. Yes, very nice mini, very happy to have him. He's a good addition to the line, and I don't really have that much to say, except he's good, and I'm glad I got him. Thanks everyone for letting me know I'd missed out on King James, because I just thought he was in a different wave. So, my bad. Alright, now let's get back to this review. So to me this is an interesting style of packaging because unlike the previous mini packs which have been in kind of blind bags, except for the glow-in-the-dark minis version 1 from like the very first year of minis, this one is kind of in like a cardboard box with a plastic insert. So I think that's kind of interesting. I think they present really well though. I think it makes it feel like you're getting a lot more stuff than you actually are. So clever. You get this that picture which we've been using for literally ever. You get a little picture of all the engines down the side. And you get, excitingly, you get the little names of all of them on the back, which is great, and you also get this thing. Cool! Yes! This seems like a good thing that they should do for Thomas Minis. I'm glad that we are doing these. Cool! So, what are we waiting for? Let's check. Alright, so lined up in front of me is the contents of the brand new Steam Team Steamies Rule Pack. So, I'm not really going to have a look at the other classic engines because they're pretty much the same as they've always been. Except, interestingly, as I've noticed now, so these ones still have the names on them, but the new ones do not. I don't know when that changed, but it seems weird. Like, why? What? Weird. I didn't realize that this has happened, but they're obviously still making engines with names on them. So I don't know what's going on there, but it's just another classic Thomas mystery. Otherwise, obviously these are the modern, can't believe I'm saying modern, minis that do not have the die-cast metal in them. Otherwise, they're pretty much the same as all the minis that have come before them. This is an example, for example, of a mini, I think it's 2 years ago. As you can see, pretty much the same. You know, you get a little bit of variation in some of the printing. You can see this one, for example, has not been printed super well at the top versus this one, but otherwise, it is essentially the same thing. Some of the lines seem to have been like, this one, the lines on the side are way crisper than they are on this one, but it's all a bit, you're gonna get a bit of everything. It really just depends how the machine is doing the thing. What's interesting to note, and I will put, again, links to the Amazon listing in the description below, but this James, I actually thought I was going to get 2 new figures. I thought they might have recolored James, because in all the CG photos of this, you can see this one's a really sloppy dome. It's like missed half the dome. In the renders, he looked like he was in a darker red, not this bright red, but like kind of a gunmetal kind of silvery red, which I was like, oh, super cool. What a cool new variant of James. And then no, he ends up being exactly the same. So fake advertising, not happy. So that's a bit of a sad time there. Again, Emily's the same. You can see some weird printing going on with her dome there. A lot of the green is showing through. So I'm like, what are they even doing? But again, even Emily still has her name. Rebecca, I already talked about in the Wave 1. I think it was Wave 1 or Wave 3 of the blind bag minis for this year. Again, I really like this mini, but you can see this one doesn't have the funny face printing. This one is far more consistent on the face printing, which is good. I'm glad because I liked Nia, so I'm glad to have another version of her. And now, what you've all been waiting for, the brand new mini of one of the more controversial changes to the show in recent history. Hello, I'm Rebecca. So, this is Rebecca, and we'll do the quick in-hand appraisal. Yeah, so as you can see and as I've talked about, most of her merchandising has been pretty good. The level of detail of this is really nice. Cool to see that, the mini has the detail of the slanted cab, even if the Thomas Wood version doesn't. Got the name up there, 22, got the different colored paint, got the stripes, got the details on the top, including the depressed funnel. Love that. Got the little headlamp. Coming to the face, I think this is another great face on her. They've done a really good job of making it small, and the correct size. Interesting that she, has such a big gap underneath her face, but I think that's actually also realistic, because normally she'd have all of her stuff, gas pipes and headlamps there. you know, so fair enough. The weirdest part of this Mini is it's the first tender engine Mini where the tender is just... ta-da! There is none. Which is really weird to me because they seem to be able to, like, you know, Gordon is a just as big engine and they managed to squash him in a tiny little tender. You know, James is big, Emily's big, all the other engines that they've released. Ferdinand was really long, you know, and has a tender. And Rebecca's just got nothing. Spencer had a tender. Nothing. So I think that is really odd, especially because her brake fan was square. I don't know why they couldn't have, like, smushed all of this, you know, this way a little bit and then put a tender in. I think they just wanted to try and preserve her, you know, shape, which I understand because I have to say, the fact she has no tender aside, she does look really good and I quite like the proportions of her. But I think it is just weird that, you know, every other Mini they've done this for, when, you know, for example, Spencer probably would have looked better if they didn't squash his tender, but they did it. And then they didn't for Rebecca for some reason. So I'm really curious about that design decision, but I think it actually doesn't look as weird as I thought it was going to look when I saw the thing. Just because these Thomas Minis are already so whack, I don't think it matters too much. But I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Alright, so what do I think about the Steamies Raw Pack? I think this is great. I think these are the kind of packs that I think are great for Minis to do, you know, get all the Steam Team at once, cool, that'll make kids really happy. Especially since it seems like they want Minis to be like a thing kids legit collect. That just means I'm just waiting for them to do a rolling stock pack, like one that's got Annie Clarabelle, or even better, like some express coaches, some troublesome trucks in different paints, some cargo vans, you know? Like, if they want to sell Minis like this just gives more evidence for me, and they say they should be selling more freight wagons and stuff, so you can make proper trains with Minis, rather than just lots of different variants of the same engines. I think that's silly. I think Rebecca looks fine. And I'm like quite happy to have her. I think the way they've distributed her this year is super weird. In the same way that Ashima taking so long to be made into a Mini was weird. The fact that she's not in one of the blind bags this year is super weird. And I don't know why they would do that, given she's meant to be one of the new members of the Steam team. So confusion and delay. In terms of the price, I paid, and I will go and check my computer, which says classic, locked during the time I've been talking. I bought this one from Amazon, as I have to buy a lot of my Thomas Mini stuff these days, for $15.86, and I got free postage on it. So, for $15, that's quite good value. You're paying just over $2 per Mini, which is how much you would pay if you were getting the blind bags, but obviously you get the benefit of being able to see what they are, not having to take the risk of getting one you've already got. Obviously for me, that's a bit rip. I paid $15 for one Mini, because I have all the others, and the James, who was not the colour that he looked on the photos. So I'm a little bit sad about that, but you know, it's not the craziest amount I've spent for some Minis out of my calendar. That said, yeah, that's my thoughts on this one. I'd love to know what you think about it. Yeah, I think overall, Rebecca's a cool Mini. I'm just confused about distribution, and I want to see more of these packs, either themed packs, so for example, you know, like, doing some special themes, like they've done the spring basket theme, which, spoiler alert, I also have sitting in my review pile. But doing things like, you know, a Dirty Day on Sodor's pack, like, you know, selling the kind of packs they used to sell with the Adventures and Trackmaster, but in Minis form with exclusive paint schemes and wagons and stuff would be super cool. I'd be super down for it. But anyway, they're all my thoughts. I've spoken for way too long on this video, so thanks for watching. That's all good time for. This is Extreme.